I'm currently reading Gene Wolfe's The Book of the New Sun, and this book is so wonderful in so many ways that I really wanted to talk about it and put it on your radar if it isn't already. Quite a while back, I told a good friend of mine that I had just finished reading Hyperion by Dan Simmons, and he was so excited for me. He said, okay, well now you've got to read Gene Wolfe, and you've got to read Christopher Ruccio, and you've got to read all of the Catholic sci-fi authors. And I was like, what, Catholic sci-fi authors? And he said, yeah, you've got to read the Pringles guy. And I said, what are you talking about? Who is the Pringles Catholic sci-fi author, and why is he associated with Pringles? And he said, well, Gene Wolfe was the engineer who designed the machine that actually produces and makes Pringles. I thought, what? Nevertheless, I told my friend I would begin looking for a copy of the Book of the New Sun, and as Providence would have it, a little while later, another friend actually gifted me the Book of the New Sun, this edition, which I'm currently reading through. I would go on to find the second volume, which contains book 3 and 4 at a secondhand bookshop, but I haven't even gotten to that one yet, so I won't talk about that. The first one already is so fascinating for so many reasons. I mean, Gene Wolfe, a simple Google search will already tell you that he was strongly influenced by his Catholic faith. So if you are, I would say, in any sense, an Orthodox Christian, whether Catholic or actually Eastern Orthodox, you would really enjoy this book, because the themes, the way things are written, it's definitely from the mind of somebody who's living the faith. Now, something that makes this book so interesting is that it's not just science fiction and it's not fantasy, it's both. Even on the cover of this edition it says, one of the great science fantasy epics of all time. So it's not sci-fi, but sci-fan, I guess. So what is science fantasy? Well, what's really interesting about the Book of the New Sun is it captures a feeling. You actually feel that you're in this strange setting. It's familiar and yet it's foreign at the same time, and at times it feels so foreign it's unlike anything you've ever read. Wolfe will use old words, old English words that are no longer in use, or words that are so obscure that we're not familiar with them. So you'll be reading about something very normal, like a wild dog, but he'll refer to those wild dogs as the rabid dolls of the north, and you feel like you're in this fantasy world, but really he's just describing wild dogs. What's fascinating is each chapter is almost like a puzzle where things are being revealed to you, but it's being done in a sort of subtle way. The character might be describing something, and the language he's using sounds medieval, it sounds fantastical, it sounds ancient, but really he's using words that mean something sophisticated, something technologically advanced, and you're trying to figure out, okay, what kind of dwelling place does this guy actually live in? Because he's going from one room to the next, but the way the rooms are named, it sounds like he's actually living inside of a machine or inside of a rocket. But it's through this lens of fantasy, and it's so hard to put this into words because it's so unlike anything you've ever read. So as you're reading it, you're in the future, and I think it's something like 100 million years into the future, and at the same time you are reading about guilds, you're reading about sacred orders, you're reading about things that feel medieval, and it's this beautiful union of two things that you would think would be so difficult to unite, but as you read it, it's constantly transporting you to this completely foreign world, and it is, guys, it is amazing. It is so fantastic. Now, the friend who gifted me this book says that you have to be a little bit autistic to enjoy the Book of the New Sun. But I don't think it's actually that difficult to read. I think you have to embrace that feeling of being in a foreign land. As I was reading the first chapter, every time I found a word that I didn't understand, I would actually underline it. Okay, so I'll give you some examples, right? And you might know some of these words, so, you know, I didn't know them. So he says, quote, and try to get through the Barbican without a safe conduct. So a Barbican is a fortified outpost, right? Okay, so that one you might know. We are physicians' gallipots. Don't you want the sick healed? Now, I didn't know what gallipots means, but it's a small jar to hold your medicine and your herbs. Then you'll find words like badalair, stellies, execrations, doles. The man seemed to vanish like water cast into a well. Here's another one. As if a dove had momentarily commanded an arctother. What on earth is an arctother, right? So I went and checked that out. It's an extinct bear beast, okay? So you'll read arctother and you'll think, oh, this is some fantasy creature, but it's just an extinct bear. This is the way the book unfurls, and it has beautiful writing. Let me read you this one portion. We believe that we invent symbols. The truth is that they invent us. We are their creatures, shaped by their hard, defining edges. When soldiers take their oath, they are given a coin, an assamy, stamped with the profile of the autarch. Now, an assamy, by the way, just means silver. Their acceptance of that coin is their acceptance of the special duties and burdens of military life. They are soldiers from that moment, though they may know nothing of the management of arms. I did not know that then, but it is a profound mistake to believe that we must know of such things to be influenced by them. And in fact, to believe so is to believe in the most debased and superstitious kind of magic. The would-be sorcerer alone has faith in the efficacy of pure knowledge. Rational people know that things act of themselves or not at all. Those are just a few examples from the first chapter, so nothing major that I'm spoiling. Now guys, I don't know if you've ever had the feeling that you watch a series or a movie or you read a book and things just feel predictable to you. You feel like you can just tell where things are going, you know how this is going to play out, and that feeling can sometimes be very demotivating because it can prevent you from wanting to get invested into anything new because you feel it's just going to end in some predictable way. I must say, I have no reference point from which to draw predictions about what's going to happen in this book because it is so unlike anything else. And this means almost every word, and sometimes literally every word, is completely new. And the irony is the words are old, right? It's old language, but it feels new because we haven't learned these things. And so you're in this vastly strange space of new and old fantasy and sci-fi. You are reading about a man who is a part of a guild of torturers, and yet you feel sad for him. It's such a unique space that I never feel that predictability. I never feel that I know what's going to happen. Everything is so new that if you are looking for a book to just shake up your reading life, I cannot recommend The Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe more. It is phenomenal, and I'm not even finished with the first book of the 4. From what I've seen, and I know I might ek sal dalk my woorde sluk, I might swallow my words, but from what I've heard everybody say, it just gets better. And in fact, 2 people have told me now that the first book of the 4 is actually the weakest or the worst one, and I'm already blown away by just the first book. So Gene Wolfe, Book of the New Sun, Catholic sci-fi author, highly recommended, check it out. Thank you so much for watching. This video is sponsored by no one. It's sponsored by me. So please, if you want to support the channel, please subscribe, please like this video, and please drop a comment down below. I always love reading people's comments, especially about topics like this, because I think if you are somebody who's into this kind of stuff, you're probably looking for people who are also into this kind of stuff. So please drop a comment down below. I'd love to know what you think. Have you read The Book of the New Sun? What do you think of The Book of the New Sun? Have I done it some justice at least in this brief video? Appreciate your time, guys. Have a lovely day, and God bless you wherever you are. Cheers.